She was a young mother with big dreams and a pure heart.
She was a wonderful mom, absolutely wonderful.
Her daughter was her everything.
Maya had like a light to her.
Until she met her fate in a dark alley.
It looked like a brutal killing. She was almost unrecognizable.
There was lots and lots of rage there.
The hunt for her killer will unveil a predator hiding in plain sight.
He was obsessive with her, and he was not going to take no for an answer.
He put her in the trunk of his car, and he tried to drive off with her.
Somebody who loves you would not hurt you like that.
That speaks to what type of monster he is.
But can investigators track him down before it's too late?
He was on the run as a fugitive.
He was dangerous. He was mentally unhinged.
This ain't over until he's in custody.
Hands up! Get him up! Reach outside, open the car door!
January 8th, 2023, Joliet, Illinois. Residents of this Chicago suburb are facing frigid temperatures following a festive holiday season.
The holidays have come and gone. The winter weather is here. So typically during this time of year for the Joliet Police Department, things are quiet.
But just after midnight, 911 dispatch receives a concerned call.
Joliet Police.
There has been like this car in the middle of the alleyway, and I don't know, I think nobody would kind of like come and claim it.
In Chicago, obstructed alleys are a common thing that we see.
Is anybody in the car?
No, not that I can see. There's nobody that I can see in the vehicle.
Okay. All right, we'll have someone check it out.
When they arrived on the scene, they observed the parked vehicle that was called in.
There's blood splatter all over the driver's side window, and there's a woman slumped over in the front seat.
The responding officers quickly make another tragic discovery.
Upon further investigation, they noticed that there was a child in a car seat in the rear seat of the vehicle.
Fortunately, the little girl appears to be unharmed, but they can't be certain.
She is transported to the hospital for full medical evaluation.
Meanwhile, officers attempt to identify the lifeless woman behind the wheel.
Once police run the vehicle's plates, they find out that the car is registered to 24-year-old Maya Smith.
Growing up in Joliet, Maya Smith was the apple of her mother's eye.
She was my shining light. She definitely knew how to brighten up a room. She had a very gentle spirit. She had a heart for others.
It would be real hard to find somebody who wouldn't say that Maya had like a light to her.
She always loved to sing. Singing was her thing, and she loved to dance. I would watch her when she was younger, just dance and twirl, and always, she just had this like free spirit and this laugh. Her laugh, I can hear it all the time.
She had quite the laugh. Anybody would say that. It was like the female version of Goofy. His laugh, it was like that.
But as much as Maya liked to have fun, she was serious about her faith.
She was raised in church. We often talked about God and just the spirit that she carried.
She was selfless, God-loving.
She did things with integrity. She believed in doing what was right.
After graduating high school, Maya enrolled in Joliet Junior College and also took classes at Post University.
She mentioned she wanted to be a nurse to me, and she also wanted to be a therapist. Helping other people was like something she enjoyed doing.
She always strived to look out for other people, just a great-spirited person.
And in 2017, Maya met someone special, a caring and attentive young man named Derek Scott.
When she met him, she was focusing on, school and just blossoming in life at that point.
She took her time with Derek, but Maya did eventually realize, hey, I'm in love with this man.
They seemed to have good chemistry, and they liked doing the same things, and she liked that he was laid back.
In 2019, after 2.5 years of dating Derek, Maya discovered she was pregnant.
When she got pregnant, she was in shock, but she was excited.
She always wanted children, so I was happy for her and just wanted to be supportive.
The couple's daughter was born in April of 2020.
Maya was a wonderful mom, absolutely wonderful.
Her daughter was her everything, so she just began to really, buckle down and focus on what was important.
However, the stress of parenthood began to strain Maya and Derek's relationship.
Derek and Maya were experiencing some of their hard times, some of their issues.
They were having problems being on the same page with things. They definitely had two different personalities. Ultimately, they decided to end things.
By the spring of 2022, Maya had moved on, finding comfort in a new connection with a 48-year-old barber named Jermaine Mandley.
She met Jermaine on Facebook, and they just started talking and conversing.
Jermaine was well over half of Maya's age. She was 24. He was in his late 40s.
She had never dated someone of his age, but she liked that he was more stable and older and seemed to know what he wanted. He liked to show her off. He liked to buy her nice things. She felt loved.
Maya was looking forward to what the future held for her.
She was excited about school, she was excited about family, and she was just excited about adventures that were coming next.
But now, police are shocked to find 24-year-old Maya Smith shot to death inside her vehicle.
Maya has been shot several times in her stomach and in her head.
It looked like a brutal killing. She was almost unrecognizable.
To the police, that level of violence and overkill only mean one thing.
This was definitely a crime of passion.
Almost 3-year-long relationship with the father of her child, Maya Smith found solace in an older man named Jermaine Mandley.
He seemed established and like he was looking to share his life with somebody.
They did a lot of stuff together that would kind of make you feel like it was gonna go kind of far.
But less than a year later, Joliet police have found Maya deceased in her car.
After an examination of Maya's body, they find she was shot 8 times total and 5 times in her face at point-blank range, meaning her killer was up close and personal.
Any single one of those gunshots would be enough to kill her. So the fact that the killer shot Maya that many times suggested that there was lots and lots of rage there.
This was definitely a crime of passion.
Investigators also note that the placement of Maya's body is unusual.
She was slumped over the front of the vehicle with her head on the driver's side and her legs kind of facing towards the passenger side of the vehicle.
It looks like whoever shot her wanted to make sure that the body was invisible to the oncoming eye.
Underneath Maya's body, police find multiple 9mm shell casings.
As the police collect the shell casings, they also find her cell phone, which is still locked.
All that is just invaluable evidence to us, and it could help give us a bigger picture of what actually really occurred.
While the evidence is sent to the crime lab for further processing, investigators deliver the tragic news to Maya's loved ones.
It's very difficult to go give a death notification to a family member. They had to tell the family that not only was Maya brutally murdered, but also it occurred in front of their grandchild.
They told me what happened, just that they had found her. Yeah, it was overwhelming. It was just kind of like a blur.
Fortunately, Maya's 2-year-old daughter is now safe.
She was at the hospital being cared for. She was doing well.
But investigators still need to get to the bottom of who committed this heinous crime.
It's crucial to try to put together a timeline as to how this victim got to where we're at.
Maya's mother informs the detectives that the last time she saw her daughter was yesterday afternoon.
Me and my sister were taking down my Christmas tree. Maya, she just wasn't herself that day. She just had a lot on her plate. So I just let her go out the door, and that was the last time I seen her.
It appears that this murder was incredibly personal, so it led investigators to begin to ask the family members about anybody that they knew she was dating.
They said Maya's been on and off with this guy, Jermaine Manley, for probably a little bit over a year.
He was a little bit older, a lot bit older, in my opinion.
Obviously, being that she had a child, you are also going to want to try to talk to the father of the child.
Investigators learned Maya shared a child with Derek Scott.
Was Derek jealous of Maya's new relationship with Jermaine? Detectives decide to run a background check on him.
We end up finding that Derek Scott was incarcerated at the DuPage County Jail at the time of the homicide.
He was dealing with some unrelated charges.
While it appears on his face that Derek couldn't have done this crime because he was already in custody, police still feel it's worth having a discussion with him to try to figure out what he knows.
Myself and another detective actually drove to the DuPage County Jail and spoke with Derek.
What is this all about? It's about Maya. She's gone.
What do you mean she's gone?
I just remember the raw emotion from Derek finding out that his baby's mother was killed.
Even though they had broken up, he admits to police that he still had feelings.
I asked Derek, have you ever met Jermaine before? And I remember specifically Derek acting like he knew this guy was bad news.
Derek goes on to say that even though he's only met Jermaine once, he did not have a good feeling about him.
And he thinks this because he found out a few months ago that Jermaine viciously attacked Maya.
After 24-year-old mother Maya Smith was found shot to death in her car, her loved ones are still reeling from the tragedy.
I broke down and I was crying, and I don't know. It was hard. It was bad.
Everybody was just falling apart. We was devastated.
And her baby was in the car.
One of those bullets could have bounced off and hit the 2-year-old in the back seat. I just don't have no words for that.
Now, Illinois detectives are speaking with Maya's ex-boyfriend, Derek, who raises some concerns about her new flame, Jermaine Manley.
He did direct them to Jermaine, who he heard did have a bit of a brutal background.
While he doesn't know all the details, he knows that Jermaine and Maya got into a heated incident back in June of 2022.
They're just sitting in the car talking. He wanted to take her somewhere, but she didn't want to go. I think it was like the middle of the night or something, and her daughter's in the house. So she's like, no, I don't want to go.
I guess he ended up arguing with her, pushing her around, shoving her around.
She tried to leave, and that's when he attacked her. And he was making threats to put her in a trunk of his car. And she was like, oh, that's not gonna happen. And she fought him, this is insane.
But eventually, Jermaine was able to overpower Maya.
He put her in the trunk of his car, and he tried to drive off with her.
I think he wanted to kidnap her, but she kicked her way out.
She was able to get out of the trunk of the car. and she ran down the street screaming for help.
Thankfully, someone heard her cries for help and called the police.
Derek tells detectives Maya was injured as a result of the attack.
I remember her lip busted, her black eye, nails missing.
And that's when they filed a police report against Jermaine for domestic battery.
But what really catches detectives' attention is Derek's last conversation with Maya.
Derek had actually spoke to Maya the day that she died.
Maya said that she wanted to leave Jermaine and get back with him.
This immediately jumped out to detectives as a red flag and a potential motive.
Maybe the reason why Maya was killed is because she confessed her love for Derek, and that's what really made Jermaine go over that line.
Back at the station, detectives begin digging into Jermaine's past.
When the police began to do a background search on Jermaine, they are absolutely floored by what they find. Jermaine is not your ordinary criminal.
We find out that he killed somebody years ago in a vehicle.
The incident stemmed from Jermaine being pulled over by the police. He drove off, taking the police on a chase. The chase resulted in Jermaine crashing into another vehicle and the occupants of that vehicle dying.
That vehicle was occupied by a beloved pastor and his wife, a former educator. They were following a member of their congregation home that Sunday morning.
Jermaine was found to have twice the legal limit of alcohol and drugs in his system.
In the end, Jermaine pled guilty to 2 counts of reckless homicide and was sentenced for 15 years. He was released on parole in 2014. That was just a handful of years before he met Maya Smith.
But the homicide is not Jermaine's only offense.
Based on his arrest record, he has been committing serious, dangerous crimes for decades.
Many women have come forward filing orders of protection against him for violence.
The police also learned that Jermaine had been married several times over, and one of the ex-wives stated that he was responsible for physical, mental, emotional abuse repeatedly over the course of their marriage and their relationship.
The most significant discovery in Jermaine's file is also the most recent.
Just like Derek told them, they find this domestic violence report that details the assault between Maya and Jermaine.
That occurred on June 13th of 2022.
He had roughed her up pretty well. The evidence was there.
You put it together and you say, well, this is the type of person we're dealing with.
But now, homicide detectives see from the case file that the charges were quickly dropped.
Unfortunately, she missed the court date. That's why it was not active. She went to the first one, but there was apparently a second one.
To be working, to be in school, to be taking care of your child, now you're adding on another set of issues that you have to deal with. I think that was just because she was overwhelmed, maybe scared.
She did have a small conversation with Jermaine. Like, I don't want to see you again. You hurt me. He kind of apologized in a way. Oh, I wasn't really gonna kidnap you, whatever the heck that means.
In many domestic violence cases, the offenders, they basically beg and plead and say, you know, I only did this because I love you, and please give me another chance.
Did Maya give Jermaine that second chance?
In their search for answers, detectives turn to Maya's cell phone.
After the detectives were able to finally get into Maya's cell phone, they did notice that she had Jermaine listed as a contact name, Do Not Answer.
They also find that Maya had over 600 missed calls from him.
But the missed calls are only the beginning. Texts between Maya and Jermaine reveal even more.
There were a series of weeks leading up to the murder where there was a clear back and forth between the two of them.
About 2 weeks prior to her death on Christmas Day, she had eventually told him that she had found out who she really loves, and that was her baby's father, not Jermaine.
Maya was attempting to break up with him, attempting to leave him, telling him that she didn't think they were good together. It was very clear that she was trying to cut off ties with this person.
Jermaine tried to convince her that her baby's father didn't love her and that basically she should be with Jermaine. Even after her rejection of him, he would message her to try to get back with them, try to at least still have a sexual relationship with her. He would even say that he would pay her money to be with him.
It's clear from his text messages and the way he would interact with her that he was rather obsessive with her and that he was not going to take no for an answer.
But it's Maya's final messages with Jermaine that provide a crucial piece of the puzzle.
It appeared that Jermaine finally wore Maya down.
The last outgoing text message, the last communication from Maya was to that number for Jermaine Manley.
Maya and Jermaine were making plans to meet up on the day that she died.
Detectives investigating the shooting death of beloved 24-year-old single mother Maya Smith have just learned she was supposed to meet up with her estranged boyfriend, Jermaine Manley, on the day she died.
The last text message on Maya's phone is to Jermaine.
At this point, the investigators have no way of knowing if that meeting actually happened. But if so, it will place Jermaine with Maya at the time she was killed.
But so far, they have no way of getting in contact with Jermaine to conduct a formal interview.
While the search for Jermaine continues, detectives receive word that there's a business near the crime scene with surveillance footage from the night of the 8th.
The manager is able to pull up the surveillance video from the night of the murder for the police to look at. And what the footage shows is absolutely shocking.
The footage clearly shows Maya's car pulling into the alleyway just before 6 p.m., where it sits there for a few minutes.
Then you see the passenger turn signal come on, which I felt that was odd right away, meaning to me I felt that there might have been a struggle in the car. And during the struggle, the turn signal was hit.
Around a minute after the turn signal was activated, a male figure is seen exiting the vehicle.
It was from a distance, it was dark, so it made it harder to actually see the person.
He shoots back into the car. On camera, you see 5 muzzle flashes, but she was actually struck 8 times. So that means that there was probably shots fired in the car before he got out of the car.
And then he was seen running from the scene.
Although detectives can't make the man's face out very clearly, they believe they know exactly who they're looking at.
The man that was seen firing into the vehicle did fit very closely the physical description of Jermaine.
But where did he go after fleeing from the crime scene?
So right after he kills Maya, he runs southbound in that alley towards Ingalls Avenue, which is like a main thorough, one of the main thoroughs.
And within hours, investigators receive a tip from someone who lives on Ingalls Avenue.
This is Detective Bo.
The caller let the detectives know that on the night of the murder, Jermaine showed up at his home just minutes after the murder would have taken place.
His gut was telling him that Jermaine did something bad.
Detectives head to the home of the tipster, a man named Miles Calder.
He did say that Jermaine had arrived at his home to watch a fight that evening.
They are friends and former coworkers.
According to Miles, Jermaine showed up around 6 p.m., just minutes after the surveillance footage showed a man fleeing from the crime scene.
Miles did tell us that he saw Jermaine have a gun on him, which he said that's not abnormal.
It was a 9mm pistol, which matches the gun used to kill Maya.
Hey, man, you okay?
Yeah, I'll be all right, man.
Miles says that they have a normal night. They started drinking. They partied for the next 5-6 hours.
How long did Jermaine stay?
He was here until just past midnight. That was when the police started showing up in the alley. There were a lot of lights and sirens outside.
How did he react to that?
He said that's when Jermaine started feeling really uneasy and very out of his personality. Kept looking outside, kept washing his hands in the bathroom.
Miles felt unsettled with Jermaine's reaction, but at the time, he didn't know what had occurred in the alley.
After stuff kind of hits social media a few hours later, and then that's when he called us.
As detectives are leaving Miles' house, they notice he has a doorbell camera.
Do you think you could bring up the video of that on your phone?
Yeah, sure.
Detectives asked if they could see the footage from that evening when Jermaine arrived.
In the videos from the doorbell, his face is basically right up to the camera. So you could clearly see it was Jermaine.
He seemed extremely nervous and agitated, and he was mumbling under his breath.
I remember watching that video for the first time saying, this guy's going through an adrenaline dump.
But it's what he says next that truly stuns investigators.
Ultimately, what he uttered from the camera is, I just killed that.
Detectives investigating the murder of 24-year-old Maya Smith have just located a damning piece of evidence against her on and off boyfriend, Jermaine Mandley.
They're able to obtain doorbell camera footage from Jermaine's friend's house that was recorded right after the murder.
Ultimately, what he uttered from the camera is, I just killed that.
It seemed very clear that this was the person who had done it.
He was probably talking to himself and had no clue that there was a camera there. And to me, that was the smoking gun in the investigation.
With the evidence piling up, on the evening of January 8th, detectives execute a search warrant on Jermaine's house.
When police show up to the house, there's no sign of Jermaine.
But the investigators find a key piece of evidence in his bedroom. They locate clothes that appear to match what the figure was wearing on the surveillance video the night of Maya's murder.
I remember specifically there was a pair of pants that looked like the ones that he was wearing the night of.
And that's not all.
They also find a necklace that appears to have dried blood on it.
However, the gun was not recovered.
And unfortunately, the investigators find no current clues about Jermaine's whereabouts.
Back at the station, detectives turn to every resource available to locate Jermaine.
At that point, we're trying to do everything in our power to get phone records, phone numbers, stuff like that, to try to track him down.
When police try to ping his cell phone, they find that it's been turned off since Sunday. And it was last seen pinging on the I-90 near the Indiana border.
Since it appears Jermaine has fled to Indiana or potentially even farther away, the detectives launch a federal fugitive task force to track Jermaine down.
This ain't over until he's in custody. So the FBI got involved.
Maya's family is left fearful and on edge after learning that Jermaine has fled.
When he was on the run, right away, I felt unsafe because he was dangerous. He was mentally unhinged. I was afraid of what would happen.
I was nervous, hoping that things went correctly, like he didn't get away, that kind of thing. Just praying that, okay, we can have some type of closure.
But just when detectives think that they're hitting a dead end, they get a call from an unexpected source.
She says she's legally married to Jermaine.
Her and Jermaine had been married for about 3 years, but she did in fact leave him last December. Because in addition to his long-standing physical abuse, she found out that Jermaine was with Maya Smith.
And it's what the woman tells detectives next that might be the answer to finally capturing Jermaine.
She was telling our detectives that Jermaine wants to meet up.
She said, he's been reaching out to me.
Simone shares that Jermaine reached out to her via Snapchat using a different name, Larry Love 2023. She said that Jermaine was begging her to help him flee the police.
Simone tells police, even though she had no intention of helping him, that she was very much aware that he was wanted by the police, so she decided to play along, and she agreed to meet up with him at a casino in Hammond, Indiana.
Many of the offenders of domestic violence are so narcissistic that they really think, even though I used to beat my ex-wife, she would never, turn me in.
Now, thanks to Simone's vital tip, investigators know exactly where they can find Jermaine.
On January 10th, police set up a sting operation at the casino where Jermaine was hiding out.
So the Federal Fugitive Task Force stages themselves around the casino area, setting up a perimeter.
Basically waited for him to arrive.
At 6:30 p.m., Jermaine pulls into the casino parking lot, and police spring into action.
Get him up! Give me hands where you can see him!
On January 10th, 2023, federal investigators finally have murder suspect Jermaine Mandley in their crosshairs.
Their fugitive task force ended up locking the car, and they used flashbangs just to make sure that they don't run.
Get him up! Get out of the car! Get your hands up! Go, go, go! Hands up! Get him up! Reach outside, open the car door!
They arrested Jermaine and took him into custody, where he was then transferred back to Joliet.
Back in Joliet, Detective Bo sits down with Jermaine.
I attempted to interview him. He invoked his rights. He did not speak about the incident. No remorse. That, to me, speaks to what type of monster he is, really.
Jermaine is booked into the Will County Jail and charged with first-degree murder.
We also charged child endangerment in addition to the murder counts because he left the baby in the car. He fired the firearm very close to her head in the car.
Maya's family and friends are finally able to find a moment of peace following Jermaine's arrest.
Him getting arrested, yeah, that was exciting. That was exciting. It was, yes, take him to court. I can't wait.
I felt good because he was off the streets and he couldn't hurt anybody else. And now we could breathe.
I was excited, just happy that he's where he needs to be.
As prosecutors prepare for trial, Maya is laid to rest.
Her funeral was beautiful. She was very popular. So many people showed up that it was like, wow, girl. She brought out almost the whole entire city.
It was an emotional day, very emotional. Her mom goes above and beyond when it comes to honoring Maya, and it's a day that will forever be with me.
It was a lot, but I did have a lot of support. It helped to have so much support.
8 months later, in August 2023, Jermaine's trial begins.
It was just surreal, being in the courtroom and him being in there. It was just such a slap in the face because he had no accountability. He didn't even say he was sorry.
He didn't show much emotion during the trial at all. I don't recall a reaction from him at all when we were discussing leaving the baby in the car or even the nature of how Maya was killed.
He just sat there like he did nothing. He just didn't care.
As the trial unfolds, the prosecution presents chilling evidence that paints a disturbing picture of Jermaine's behavior toward Maya.
The prosecutors submit evidence of the couple's text messages that paints Jermaine in the light that he was an abusive and a controlling boyfriend.
There were hundreds of text messages from him
You could see that he was still trying to convince her to be with him, and her text messages showed that she did not want to have that type of relationship with him.
And on the night of January 7th, Jermaine's violence reached a terrifying peak.
Prosecutors argue that on January 7th, that Jermaine had plans to watch a fight at his friend Mal's home. He began to harass Maya over the phone until she agreed to give him a ride. That is how they ended up in the alley.
When Maya told Jermaine she wasn't interested in seeing him anymore, he immediately snapped and shot her 8 times.
Her kid is in the back seat. You are evil. You are pure evil.
Rejection's a part of life. Everybody in this world's been rejected at some point, but some people just can't handle that.
In order to prove that Jermaine is Maya's killer, prosecutors point out the video surveillance of the crime scene and that Jermaine is in proximity at Miles' house.
Jermaine's estranged wife also takes the stand, detailing the years of abuse she suffered at his hands.
I think that we were all very impressed by her. I mean, she also, just like Maya, is a very young woman compared to Jermaine Manley. And she walked in confidently, stopped and looked at him, took the stand, and told everything that she had to tell.
After a grueling 5-day trial, the jury deliberates for just 30 minutes before rendering a verdict. Guilty.
When we got the verdict, the entire courtroom stood up and cheered before the judge was even done speaking.
Relief. I mean, we knew that that was the right verdict, so we were pleased with it.
Jermaine is sentenced to life in prison.
I believe that Jermaine Manley got what he deserved. I believe a life sentence was entirely appropriate for him.
I just pray that the Lord has mercy on his soul. You know, at least I could have some sense of peace knowing that he would not be back on the street.
Those who knew Maya are left to reflect on the tragedy that could have been prevented.
Considering him having all the previous cases, he should have been locked up somewhere, you know, a long time ago. And then Maya would have never even crossed paths with him.
I felt like he could have been stopped, but it's like he kept getting away with things. He had a track record for doing this to people, and it's like nobody's seen it.
I think a major lesson is that domestic violence doesn't get better.
I tried to tell her story to spread awareness to young women, people that I know that have been in domestic violence situations. I try to talk to them and let them know it could turn, and very quick.
Somebody who loves you would not hurt you like that. I don't care how much they do for you, they would not hurt you like that.
Nobody deserves to get beat. Nobody deserves to get strangled. Nobody deserves to get, attacked.
I would love for the world to remember her as a very nice, sweet person and somebody who cares about other people and a good mother.
She was God-loving. Remember her as God-loving. She had unconditional love for her daughter. She was kind-hearted.
Her daughter is her all over again. She's doing well. She's happy all the time, just so smart and blossoming.
Seeing her daughter, it's almost like we still have a piece of her here.
I just try to make sure I keep her name alive. Maya was and still is a shining light. I'm sure she is watching over so many individuals.
She'd spent most of her life traveling the world.
She grew up in Nigeria, spent some time in Thailand.
Until she found the man of her dreams.
He was in the military.
He's a man of honor. He's a man of discipline.
She was in love.
She moved to the U.S. They got married, and then she got pregnant.
They're building a life together.
But it comes to a horrific end.
Houston police.
We found a dead body in a refrigerator.
There were multiple stab wounds.
That's going to haunt them the rest of their lives.
The gruesome discovery launches a frantic search.
Time is ticking.
The police put out an Amber Alert.
They're worried about that child.
Where's the baby? Who has the baby?
But are the police the only ones searching?
To speak with the federales.
Why flee to Mexico?
He didn't tell me his full name.
He said he feared for his son's life.
She was tied up in an organized criminal ring.
I call him the Nigerian Mafia.
December 8, 2014. It's 2 weeks after Thanksgiving in Houston, Texas, a metropolis of just over 7 million people.
Houston is such a big, vast city. You could literally drive 1 hour and still be in Houston.
The good news is if you move here, you can reach out the window and not touch your neighbor's house.
But the property manager of one townhome community is learning that even in this sprawling city, things can still be too close for comfort.
Her phone has been ringing all day.
There were some complaints about a smell.
Neighbors would be walking around, and the smell is getting stronger and stronger. They've had enough.
The source seems to be a townhouse leased to Anastasia Owakina Lambert, an immigrant from Nigeria.
Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the United States.
We have people from Africa, people from Europe, people come from all over the world, and so it does give it more of a multicultural atmosphere.
The manager tries to contact Anna, but the call goes to voicemail.
The manager wonders if maybe Anastasia is out of town.
Did they forget to clean out their fridge? Is it leftover food?
After all, it's only a couple of weeks after Thanksgiving.
That appears to be the case when the manager and maintenance man enter the apartment, trying to track down the source of the smell.
When they try the light switch, it appears that the power has been shut off.
Think about the last time you lost electricity and all that stuff in the freezers and the fridge went bad.
The maintenance man thinks it's a Thanksgiving turkey that had rotted away.
And the smell does appear to be coming from the refrigerator.
"27-year-old Anastasia Owakina Lambert had seen a lot of the world before putting down roots in Houston.
Anna came from Nigeria, and she went to Thailand for schooling.
Anna enrolled at a university in Bangkok to get a degree in multimedia journalism.
Her hope and her dream was to be on a television station and a host on her own show.
In 2012, while studying in Thailand, Anna met a former American serviceman named Patrick Lambert online.
Patrick was 10 years older than Anna, and he was living in Hawaii.
He talked a lot about how he was in the military.
The fact that he was a veteran really impressed Anna.
He's a man of honor. He's a man of discipline. He's a man that wants to serve other people because he wants to serve his country.
Patrick was equally impressed with Anna.
Anna was a fantastic person. She was generous, she was kind, she was loving.
And what started as an online friendship quickly became something more.
They fell in love.
She was sure he was the man for her.
She was in love and she was excited.
So when Patrick asked Anastasia to move to America for him, she said yes.
She moves to Hawaii.
Not long after arriving in Hawaii, Patrick proposed, and they got married.
She wanted to be married, and she kind of had those traditional values.
Now armed with a green card from U.S. Immigration, Anna was ready to take the world by storm.
The interview, it was perfect.
She'd already had her mind set on her goals, because her dream was to have her own TV show.
You have no idea how much I want this job.
She got jobs in the publishing world. She worked for a web hosting company. She was really getting her foot in the door.
But for a while, she still felt like something was missing.
Even though she had her husband, she had goals, she had dreams, she wanted family.
And in 2013, that dream became reality.
She got pregnant with their son.
She was thrilled to become a mother, and they were so excited to start a family.
Soon after their son was born, the family moved to Houston.
Anna and the baby went first.
Houston has a large Nigerian population. So while it may be a foreign city to her, it's also a little bit of home.
On the southwest side of Houston, you do have a lot of stores, churches, eateries in that area that are specific for those who are Nigerian.
It was easy to adjust.
Patrick followed a few months later, and the family was reunited.
They had a 1-year-old son. Anna was hardworking. She has come from Nigeria. She came from nothing. She went to Thailand, got schooling, came to America. I mean, she's living the American dream.
But now, after multiple complaints from her neighbors, Anna's property manager and the maintenance man are investigating a pungent smell coming from her condo.
She tried calling Anna, but her phone went straight to voicemail.
The neighbors were wondering, God, what is going on there?
But inside, there appears to be a simple explanation.
When she tries to turn on the lights, it's clear the power has been shut off.
And the smell is coming from the refrigerator.
He thinks it's a Thanksgiving turkey, and it was a very strong, pungent smell.
It was so rancid that the maintenance man had to put on a mask and some gloves.
Then he opens the door.
They're overcome. It's like a wave hitting you.
Obviously, he realizes it's not a turkey.
It's coming from a dead body.
By December of 2014, it looked as if Nigerian immigrant Anastasia Owakina Lambert was well on her way to realizing the American dream.
Anna, her husband Patrick, and their young son had relocated to Houston.
She's in a new city, making new friends, at her new job.
She was very successful. She was doing really well here.
But now, Anna's property manager and the maintenance man have made a horrifying discovery in her kitchen.
There's a grown woman stuffed in a refrigerator, just as if somebody went deer hunting and put their kill in a fridge to keep it on ice.
But since the apartment's power was cut off, the body was badly decomposed.
The smell of death is not a smell that you can get out of your mind. It's a smell that you'll always remember.
That's going to haunt them the rest of their lives.
As soon as she recovers her composure, the building manager immediately calls 911.
Houston Fire Medical, what is your emergency?
We found a dead body in a refrigerator.
Although it's a dead body, it doesn't quite register with the 911 operator.
Okay, we can start the CPR and I can tell you what to do until help arrives.
That dead body's been probably there, I don't know how long.
Is it smelly?
Yes.
Okay, we do have help on the way.
The 911 operator dispatches both the coroner and homicide detectives to their location.
When the police arrive, they restore the power, then make sure no one else is inside.
There's not a lot of things out of place. Nothing to show that it was some sort of burglary or a robbery.
There was no forced entry.
But there are blood stains.
Most of the blood appears to be in the master bedroom.
There's some blood stains on the sheets on the bed. We believe that's where she is killed.
How the victim was killed becomes obvious once the coroner's team begins the grim task of removing the body from the refrigerator.
There were multiple stab wounds to the neck. Obviously, that was the cause of her death.
Not 10, not 12, multiple stab wounds to the neck area. Over and over and over again.
It was almost 20 times. That's overkill.
The nature of the wounds may also tell detectives something about the killer's motive.
A knife attack is going to be a very personal attack.
When you stab someone, you are also feeling the effect of the stab in your arm, in your hand. And you can hear it, you can see it, and it's a feeling, right? It is a very close type of heinous crime.
It was a violent killing.
Then, once she was dead, the killer had hidden her body.
The killer took all of the shelves out and placed her in the refrigerator.
Placing the body inside the refrigerator, it preserves it. It slows down the decomposition process.
Or it would have if the power hadn't been shut off.
Eventually, that refrigerator door could not stop the stench.
But is the body in the refrigerator Anastasia? When the detectives turn to the apartment manager, she's not certain.
I can't really say. She was unrecognizable.
Given the condition of the body, it will take DNA or dental records for a positive ID.
However, the manager is able to tell detectives that Anna is married and has a son.
How old is the little boy?
Can't be no more than a year old.
She hadn't realized Anna was married until Patrick showed up several months after moving in.
They moved here from Hawaii, so I guess he was there wrapping things up.
Do you have a number for him?
No, I don't have a number for him, but I do have Anna's number.
Still, there may be a way for the detectives to track down Patrick.
The police put out an Amber Alert with Patrick Lambert and a picture of his son.
They're worried about the welfare of the child, and Patrick is obviously a person that they want to talk to.
In investigations where a spouse is killed, the investigators look at the person that's closest to them, which in this case is going to be the husband.
At this point, they really have no idea how this happened. They just know that there's this body in the fridge.
Could he be dead too? Or is he a suspect?
All the detectives can do is hope that the Amber Alert leads them to Patrick and the missing child.
Amber Alerts, they can generate tips. Sometimes they're false, but occasionally they come through.
But will it pay off this time?
Somebody called in saying they thought they had seen Patrick.
And they give a location.
Not only was Patrick alive, he was at a house only a few miles from the crime scene.
Let's go.
Detectives investigating the murder of 27-year-old Anastasia Oakina Lambert have just received a tip that her husband, Patrick Lambert, is still in the city.
Where was this?
Someone called in response to the Amber Alert and said Anna's husband was at a house a couple of miles away.
So the officers went to that home.
Hey, let's go, man. We got Patrick.
And when the detectives knock on the door, a man answers.
Patrick Lambert?
He looked strikingly like Patrick Lambert.
But it sure isn't Patrick.
He was cooperative. He showed them his ID.
It's simply a case of mistaken identity.
This poor guy happens to match Patrick's description.
He doesn't have a clue who Anna is. He doesn't have an idea of what's gone on.
Have a good night. You too.
It's a disappointing outcome for the detectives.
You almost have to start over and recommit your efforts to see what you can find, but you keep working.
And later that evening, they get another call into the tip line.
And this caller, they're telling the detectives, are you sure you've identified the right person?
Because the caller claims that Anna is still alive.
The detectives are caught off guard by this.
Is it possible the body in the refrigerator isn't Anna?
The medical examiner has yet to confirm the body's identity.
This caller then tells them, well, I work with Anna. She was at work with me yesterday.
When the detectives contact the grocery store where the caller works, they confirm that a woman named Anna Oakina Lambert does work at that store.
But the address that the store has on file for her isn't where Anna lived.
somebody is using her identity. Obviously, that's suspicious.
Hoping to get to the bottom of it, detectives head to the mystery woman's address.
They speak to her. She's very cooperative.
Her name is Jacqueline Afia.
Like Anna, Jacqueline is also from Nigeria.
Is that how you know Anna?
Sorta. We met in Thailand.
Turns out that Anna and Jacqueline went to the same college in Thailand.
We were both studying communications, and since we're both Nigerian, we just started hanging out.
If you find someone that has the same interests as you, it helps you adjust or to acclimate to wherever you are.
They became close, but had lost touch after graduation.
She went to Hawaii, and I ended up here.
But she says that about a year ago, they reconnected.
They're talking about their family, their life.
She was talking about leaving Hawaii.
She's like, if you come here, I got you. You can stay with me.
So in return, Anna had done a favor for Jacqueline.
Jacqueline couldn't work legally in the U.S., and she was having trouble finding a job.
I was filling out all the applications to get a green card, but it was taking too long, and I was running out of money.
Until Anna came up with a solution.
She says, look, girl, don't worry about the green card thing. You can use my ID.
She's married. She's not really financially in dire straits. However, her friend is.
No, we cannot do that. You're like my sister. Come on. What if we get caught? How do you worry about that? Okay.
She understands that you have a lot of obstacles in your way, and if I can help you, even if it puts me at risk a little bit, I'm going to do that for you.
So Anna, being the generous person she was, allowed her to use her information to then pose as her and work.
Are you sure? Positive. Okay.
She did not steal someone's identity. It was given to her, willfully.
I just can't believe she's gone.
So you've heard.
About the body? Yes.
But it's what Jacqueline says next that really grabs the detective's attention.
I was afraid something like this would happen.
Why's that?
Anna was trying to get out of the marriage. That's why she moved to Houston.
She was in an abusive relationship.
Anastasia Oakina Lambert's friend, Jacqueline Afia, has just told detectives that the 27-year-old Nigerian immigrant had actually moved to Houston to get away from her abusive husband, Patrick Lambert.
Jacqueline knew things about the marriage.
Jacqueline knew about his temper, knew about his controlling, manipulative way with Anna.
He was always calling her, keeping tabs on where she was and who she was with.
Did she tell you he was abusive?
Well, not at first.
She told the police that in their culture, they keep things to themselves involving family issues.
A lot of times in various communities, we're taught to figure it out. You're in a situation, whatever the situation is, find a way out of it. What happens in this house stays in this house.
But Jacqueline says that Anna had eventually opened up and told her the awful truth about Patrick.
There was abuse, both physical and she alleged sexual abuse while she was in Hawaii.
That's when I told her to leave him.
And she took your advice?
No, not at first.
When you're in an abusive relationship, and people always ask, why didn't she just leave? Well, that's easier said than done because they feel like they can't get out. And that's because that person has so much control over them.
But eventually, Anna had called Jacqueline and said she was ready to leave Patrick.
So she flew over here to Houston.
Jacqueline helped her get back on her feet and got her involved with the local women's shelter.
The Houston Area Women's Center is very important, very integral to the community, and they help domestic violence victims.
You're able to tap into these resources that the Houston Women's Center has to get a job, to get vouchers, to get food, to get housing.
They even help her with utilities.
She was doing so great. She had a job, she had her own place.
But then, after a few months of freedom, Patrick was back in her life.
The control that he had over Anna was very obvious because she allowed him to come back.
I told her it was a bad idea, but she would not listen.
She wanted to make the marriage work because of the baby.
She probably was holding out hope that he would change.
When's the last time you saw Anna?
I haven't seen or spoken to her since September.
Jacqueline had been trying Facebook Messenger and getting strange responses.
What do you mean by strange?
Well, they didn't sound like her.
You think someone was using her account?
Yeah, I think so.
And Jacqueline has a pretty good guess as to who was impersonating Anna and why.
She told him she wouldn't be surprised if Patrick was behind her murder. And after hearing her story, detectives were inclined to agree.
After talking to Jacqueline, the investigators have their first suspect.
At that point, there was really only one person, that was Patrick Lambert.
With no leads on his whereabouts, the following morning, detectives follow up with the Women's Center.
The Houston Area Women's Center had an intake sheet that kind of spelled out why she was moving to Houston, why she needed shelter, and it talked a lot about her abuse.
Anna has revealed that Patrick's been violent in the past. He's threatened to kill her. She's doing everything that we ask people to do in domestic violence situations. She's asking for help, and she's fleeing the situation.
But like many women in abusive relationships, she allowed her abuser back into her life.
Some people think they want help, but they may not be fully ready to get the help that they really need.
She stopped coming in for her counseling sessions, and she stopped returning my calls.
The Houston Area Women's Center is trying to locate her, but they figured she just left with Patrick because that's often what happens in domestic violence situations.
And by late November, the center stopped paying for Anna's utilities.
The Houston Area Women's Center required Anna to send them the bills to pay for them. So all utilities were shut off November 21st.
Roughly 2 weeks later, neighbors started complaining about a smell coming from her home.
Between Jacqueline and Anna's caseworker, the detectives are convinced that the woman in the fridge is Anna, and that Patrick is the one who put her there.
They sure knew they needed to find Patrick, and find him quick. Time is ticking.
But with no new leads, detectives focus on building up their case against Patrick, starting with a search through their database.
They found out on September 2nd, there was a police report where Patrick had threatened Anna with a knife.
Nothing came of that.
She asked the police not to press charges.
Also alarming is what they don't find.
There's no record of Patrick ever being in the military.
Everything about this guy is a red flag.
Next, the detectives reach out to a woman Anna's caseworker had mentioned was one of her close friends at the women's shelter.
What I want to do now is just talk to you a little bit about everything, okay?
Oh, okay.
Did she ever tell you about Patrick?
Yeah, she told me about some stuff that happened in Hawaii. I heard from another friend that he had threatened her. I didn't know that, but she told me that they used to fight a lot, and her mom sent her like $1,000 for her plane ticket to leave Hawaii.
She had a good support system.
Detectives also talk to Anna's employer, who has only good things to say about her.
She was hardworking. They really thought she was a great employee.
But her boss says the last contact he had with Anna, a Skype message, had made him suspicious.
I don't think that was her, honestly.
The message contained multiple questions about a project that she had already finished.
That's very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, really strange. At the beginning of September, her sister in Germany asked me to get in contact with Anna because she wasn't contacting the family. And so I sent her a message instead and said, contact the family. And I just thought she'd been really, really busy, you know.
But then he got another strange message, this time from Patrick.
He sends an email on September 28th saying that Anna had a family emergency and that she was going to leave the country and that she wasn't coming into work.
The detectives know it was a lie.
Anna wasn't out of the country. She was in the refrigerator.
But where are Patrick and the couple's one-year-old son?
It can be frustrating having nothing.
Old homicide detectives used to say, if God wants the case solved, we're going to get that magic phone call.
And luckily, it doesn't take long.
On December 12th, 4 days after they found Anna's body, the detectives finally get a lead.
Homicide.
The caller is a woman named Veronica Castillo.
Veronica is in Querétaro, Mexico. It's not a very populated area in Mexico. It's much deeper in Mexico than you would think somebody would travel.
But according to Veronica, there was someone new in town.
He told her his name was Patricio Santiago.
I know something was odd about him because he said, don't ask me nothing about my past.
Detectives investigating Anastasia Oaquina Lambert's murder have received a tip that her missing husband, 38-year-old Patrick Lambert, may be living on the lam in Mexico.
When did you first see him in Mexico?
I think it was the end of September and beginning of October.
Which is right around the time police believe the murder took place.
And unlike earlier sightings, the detectives have reason to believe this isn't a case of mistaken identity.
According to Veronica, Patrick has a little boy with him.
In the beginning, when I started talking to him, I didn't know he had a baby. Suddenly, he just did it to me like, yeah, I'm a father, I better go and take care of my baby. But he never told me about the baby before.
Veronica said she actually had played with the son some.
She'd also become very close with Patricio.
They end up having a sexual relationship.
Your wife gets murdered in Houston in September, and already by November, you're dating this new woman.
And by then, there was no doubt about Patricio's real identity.
Patrick trusted her enough that he revealed his name to her.
He told her he was Patrick Lambert.
Eventually, he even told her a little about his past. Not that Veronica believed much of it.
Patrick said he was married, but that he and his wife were separated.
He gave a lot of weird stories about how Anna was off fighting a war in Africa.
Something was like strange about him, and I just kind of ignored it.
She figured he was just telling tall tales.
However, there were other things about Patrick that were harder for her to ignore.
He had a really bad attitude sometimes.
Well, did he ever get violent with you? Did he ever hurt you?
No, not really. Not physically, but on the, when sometimes you feel that the person is not, like, all good.
She says he has a bad temper.
But Veronica says the worst thing about Patrick was the way he treated his son.
She says he would often leave the 1-year-old at home alone.
I was like, well, we should take the baby. How can we leave him just there alone by himself? And he was like, don't worry about it. He's going to be okay. Things like that.
She knew something's really, really off. Something's really wrong here.
So she'd done a little digging on Patrick.
When something doesn't add up, we tend to investigate.
And it didn't take long in this world of the internet for her to find the story about Anna, for her to find the Amber Alert, and more importantly, to see the photo of Patrick Lambert.
At that point, the bells would start going off.
There is a child involved. There's a woman that's been murdered. There's a man on the run.
Once she knew the whole story, Veronica contacted the Houston police.
Veronica did the right thing.
And after talking to Veronica Castillo, the detectives make a call of their own to the Mexican Federal Police.
The federales were very cooperative with Houston Police Department.
The Mexican authorities are able to locate Patrick and place him in custody.
While awaiting the transfer of both Patrick and his son back to the States, the Houston police get a call from the property manager at Anna and Patrick's townhome.
By this point, detectives have released the crime scene, and the manager is getting the home ready to be re-rented.
Everything's been cleared out. A cleaning crew's in there with bleach, scrubbing walls, repainting, trying to make it as fresh as possible.
And in the bedroom closet, they find something police had overlooked.
The cleaning crew finds a knife. Not just one knife, actually 2 knives.
Could either of these knives be the murder weapon?
The crime scene folks get back out there, and they're able to preserve them.
The knives are still at the crime lab when Patrick, fresh off the plane from Mexico, finally sits down with the detectives in Houston.
Since you were brought in here by the customs people and everything, I said we got a lot of rules. Okay, so I'm going to read you your rights.
They then read him his Miranda warnings, but she waives.
He waives his right to remain silent because, according to Patrick, he has nothing to hide.
He stated that he had been in Mexico since August, before the time of the murder.
The detectives know that's a lie.
We have witnesses that saw him here in September. In fact, there was a police report where they spoke to him in September where he threatened her with a knife.
Although for a moment, detectives play along.
Did you take a bus down there, or did you drive down there, or what? How did you get down?
But it's why he supposedly fled to Mexico that takes the detectives by surprise.
He said he feared for his son's life and his life.
Because according to Patrick, Anna was mixed up with some very bad people.
I call them the Nigerian Mafia.
Patrick Lambert has told detectives investigating the murder of his wife, Anastasia Owakina Lambert, that the 27-year-old Nigerian immigrant had connections to criminals from her home country.
She does things to survive, so if that's what she had to do to hustle, but I said it wouldn't end up good, or it wouldn't, it would end up being a problem.
Patrick tells a tale of how he had to flee with his son from Houston because the Nigerian Mafia had a hit out for his wife.
You think she owed somebody money? Definitely. Do you think that was the reason for her being killed? I mean, I don't know, but she had to take care of family back in Nigeria. And is that a Nigerian thing, the way they killed her, to make a statement?
Patrick says he doesn't know.
He said that she was tied up in these things, that she was doing all this criminal behavior.
But the detectives don't believe a word of it.
I know you killed Anna. I know you did. Been doing this a very long time.
The story was so ridiculous.
We found absolutely no ties to her having any sort of criminal behavior whatsoever, much less ties to an organized criminal ring.
If Patrick was so concerned, and it was truly a Nigerian mafia hit, why wouldn't he reach out to the police? Why flee to Mexico?
The detectives have heard enough.
Do you want to spend the rest of your life in prison, or do you want a chance to have a life?
He immediately stops talking and asks for a lawyer, and the interview ends.
At the end of the interview, the detectives arrest Patrick for first-degree murder.
Between his history of abuse and the fact that he'd fled to Mexico, detectives believe they have a strong case.
But when the case goes to trial in October of 2019, Patrick has one more surprise for everyone.
The day jury selection begins, he decides he's going to represent himself.
Him serving as his own counsel was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
What it tells me about Patrick is he's controlling, he's manipulative.
He truly believed he could manipulate the men and women on that jury, the facts of the case, because he believed he was charming. He was the one that could convince anyone.
The prosecutors argue that Patrick's manipulation directly led to Anna's murder.
He probably wanted someone who would just stay at home and cater to his every need. And him trying to control her, it just didn't work.
You have someone that comes from Africa, and now she's in the United States. What that did for Anna was it gave her a chance to see women with a lot of autonomy, to see women who were independent. That woke something up inside of Anna that her husband probably did not like.
she became more wary of him. And she realized that she had become successful on her own. She didn't need him. She didn't need him in her life anymore.
She just wanted what you and I want. She wanted a fresh start. She wanted to see her son grow up. She wanted her freedom.
She had, we believe, started to distance herself from Patrick, and we think that's what ultimately led to the murder.
Because by late September of 2014, Patrick had become aware that he was losing control of Anna.
His last bit of control was to take her life.
The police and the prosecutors believe that the murder occurred on the 27th.
September 26th is the last time anyone sees Anna.
Then on the 28th, he had the nerve to send an email to her employer saying that she had gone home to Nigeria for a family emergency.
We don't know exactly what transpired. I would imagine she was telling him, I'm divorcing you, I'm getting out of this relationship, and he wasn't going to have it. He took out a knife and brutally murdered her, stabbing her 20 times.
He didn't stab her once and was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. He stabbed her so many times.
This person is in a rage state. That was what Anna felt in the last few moments of her life.
And when the rage subsided, he tried to hide what he'd done.
He took all the shelving out, and he put her body in a position where she would fit in the refrigerator. And 2 days later, he's on a bus to Mexico with the son. He bought the tickets on September 29th. He gets on a bus September 30th. And by October 1st, he's already got a place in Mexico. And he meets Veronica, and they have a romantic relationship.
When it's the defense's turn, Patrick remains adamant that he wasn't the one who killed Anna.
Patrick didn't seem to really acknowledge that he was in trouble, and so he's asking very irrelevant questions about things like the Nigerian mafia and the Ivory Coast mafia.
He challenged officers on what they didn't do. Did the officers follow up on the Nigerian mafia claim?
He became very combative, very aggressive.
When the case goes to the jury, the prosecutors are confident of a conviction.
You would think this is a slam dunk. They're going to come back in 5 minutes and find this clown guilty.
But an hour passes, and then 2, and 3.
What in the world is going on? Do they believe his story? What is happening in that jury room?
Finally, after 4 days of deliberation, the jury reaches its verdict.
Patrick was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Under state law, he's eligible for parole after 30 years.
But he'll only spend a few days behind bars.
Shortly after he went to prison, he killed himself.
He took his own life because that was his last part of his life that he could control. No one's going to tell me what to do.
He was like, I control my own life, and so he took it.
A lot of people still have the feeling of eye for an eye. But even that doesn't feel like justice because the victim's family, friends, and those that were close to her still feel the pain for the rest of their lives.
There are many victims, but the most prominent one that stands out in my view is the child.
Neither one of his parents are there to see him grow up.
And since Anna's family is in Nigeria, she was a Pakistani native, proud of her rich cultural heritage.
She was bubbly, she was very pretty, she had a smile that could light up a room.
And soon she met a man who seemed like her perfect match.
He came from a very wealthy family. He had class, he had flair.
Together, they started a family of their own.
She was very devoted to her sons. They were the focus of her life, as well as her husband.
But in an instant, it would all be ripped away.
911, where's your emergency? I just got shot in my leg.
He said the gunman shouted something chilling.
Was someone driven by hate to commit this atrocious crime?
It looked like it was targeted.
Soon, detectives find themselves tangled in a sordid web of scandal and deceit.
She started to suspect him of having an affair.
She sent a text message that stated,
someday you will find me dead.
Until finally, the full truth is revealed.
They're blown away at what she has to say.
He was contacting black magic companies, trying to put a spell on her.
He was a master manipulator.
They thought he was a psychopath before, but they realized they had barely scratched the surface.
August 16th, 2011. It's a tranquil Tuesday in Boonton, New Jersey, a bedroom community 30 miles west of Manhattan.
It's a very small and tight-knit community where everybody just kind of looks out for each other.
It's sort of a melting pot. It has a large Pakistani-American community that's been there for 50, 60 years.
The majority of the town are people of Islamic faith.
And for Boonton's Islamic residents, it's a particularly special time of year, the holy month of Ramadan.
Ramadan is a month of reflection, and we do a lot of good in that month, encouraged to help the needy, and we are obligated to fast. It's very common for people to break fast at sunset together.
Around 11 p.m., Ramadan festivities are wrapping up, and families are settling in for a quiet night. But a frantic 911 call from 26-year-old Kashif Pervez shatters the evening's calm.
Hello? 911, where's your emergency? I just got shot in my leg. Send an ambulance.
911 operators immediately dispatched Boonton police and medical to Kashif's location.
When first responders arrive, they're shocked to find what appears to be a young family gunned down in the middle of the quiet street.
Someone help her, please! Thankfully, the baby's not harmed, not a scratch on him.
One officer immediately took the baby to the police cruiser to keep him safe.
What happened? Who did this to you?
I don't know. They ran away.
Thankfully, it appears that Kashif's injuries are non-life-threatening.
He was shot in the arm and the leg.
However, Kashif's wife, Nazish Noorani, isn't as fortunate.
Nazish was shot 3 times in the heart.
And they knew that it was probably too much for her body to take.
26-year-old Nazish Noorani had immigrated to the United States from Pakistan when she was just a teenager.
She was bubbly, she was very pretty, she dressed very well, she had a smile that could light up a room.
Nazish was a social butterfly, and because she was connected to her culture, she enjoyed attending cultural events.
And it was at one such event in 2005 that she met Kashif Pervez.
Kashif was also Pakistani, but he was born and raised here in the U.S.
Kashif was a very handsome young man coming from a very wealthy family. He had class, he had flair.
Kashif dreamed of being an architect, and he told Nazish that he was working on a master's degree at the prestigious Columbia University in New York City.
Kashif represented everything she would want in a husband.
Just months after meeting each other, the pair tied the knot and settled in Brooklyn, so Kashif could finish his studies at Columbia. And before long, their family of 2 started to grow.
Nazish and Kashif welcomed their first son in 2006 and their second one soon after.
She was just a loving mom who did everything to take care of her family and just be supportive of her husband and his dream to be an architect.
And as Kashif neared the end of his master's program, he got some more exciting news.
Babe. I got in. Look.
Harvard?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so proud of you.
Kashif was offered an amazing opportunity to go to Harvard University.
Oh, what does this mean for us?
Well, no reason to uproot the boys.
The plan was for Kashif to move to Boston and attend Harvard, while Nazish and the boys stayed back in Brooklyn.
Right, of course. You go. We'll be fine. It's only temporary.
Kashif and Nazish were willing to make the sacrifices necessary for them to have the life of their dreams.
And on August 16th, they reunited in Boonton, New Jersey to celebrate Ramadan with extended family.
Ramadan is a very happy time for the Muslim community.
But now, what started as a celebration has turned into a nightmare.
Nazish Noorani was dying on the street after having been shot in the heart.
Unfortunately, there's nothing paramedics can do to save Nazish's life.
No pulse.
No!
She's gone.
Oh, God! No!
The bullets that struck her right in the chest.
Who would want to kill this beautiful young mother? And why?
Mr. Pervez tells first responders that they were ambushed by 3 gunmen wearing masks.
This wasn't random. They were profiling us.
Kashif says before the gunmen opened fire, they shouted something chilling.
They called them terrorists.
This was very serious. This was a possible hate crime.
Pakistani native Nazish Noorani had built a good life for herself in the U.S., along with her architect husband, Kashif Pervez, and their 2 young sons.
She was very devoted to her sons. They were the focus of her life, as well as her husband.
But now Nazish and Kashif have been gunned down by a group of masked attackers.
The wife was pronounced dead on the scene.
Kashif believes the violence was racially motivated.
This wasn't random. They were profiling us. They called us terrorists.
For police, this is a concerning piece of information.
It's the middle of Ramadan, the holiest month of the year for the Muslim community.
Because of Kashif and Nazish's Pakistani heritage, as well as their Muslim faith, this was something that police had to consider a possible hate crime.
Can't give any other descriptions on these guys. We'll need to know what to look for later.
There was 3 of them. One was black, one was white. That's all I know.
As first responders prepare to transport Kashif to the hospital, he walks them through the events of that evening.
He said they were in Boonton that particular night to celebrate Ramadan with family.
After dinner, he says he and Nazish decided to take a stroll through the neighborhood with their baby. Their oldest son chose to stay behind with Nazish's family.
Kashif says as they left his sister-in-law's house, everything seemed normal. But moments later, chaos erupted.
He said 3 masked men approached him. One was white, one was black, and he couldn't tell the other.
Please don't shoot. We don't have any money.
We don't want your money. We want you to go back to where you came from.
He said it hadn't been a robbery. It was targeted.
Kashif says before he had time to react and protect his wife and son, the masked men opened fire on them.
Go home, terrorists.
Kashif says the men took off, and he didn't see where they went.
At this point, Kashif was taken to the hospital as a result of the wounds that he received from this incident.
With the scene now secured, homicide detectives arrive to begin their investigation.
There really wasn't much evidence. There were some shell casings, but nothing else that really led the police in any particular direction.
The shell casings are clearly from 2 different firearms, a .38 caliber and 9mm, which fits with Kashif's statement that there were at least 2 shooters.
Comparing Nazish's wounds to Kashif's, it appears she was shot in the chest 3 times with a .38, which is a much larger bullet. There was no chance she was going to survive.
So was this indeed a hate crime? Were Kashif and Nazish targeted simply because of their Muslim faith?
Boomtown is a town where the Muslim community felt safe.
So police took this extremely serious. They wanted to make sure that no one else was in danger of being harmed because of this potential hate crime.
Just then, Nazish's family members arrive on the scene.
Nazish, where is she? Where's Kashif?
Kashif is in the hospital, ma'am. He's gonna be okay. But Nazish,
Please don't tell me that's her.
I'm so sorry.
The family was devastated. They had just seen her a few minutes ago. It was a very, very emotional moment.
They're experiencing the tragic loss of Nazish. She was a doting mom, a beautiful mom, a talented mom.
She was a wonderful person, really the light of their family.
Had Nazish or her husband been experiencing any racial prejudice that you're aware of?
What? No, never. We always felt so safe in this neighborhood.
Things like this do not happen in Bhutan, and certainly doesn't happen to people like Nazish and Kashif. It just didn't make sense. There had to be more to this story.
Can you think of anyone that would have wanted to harm Nazish?
No, everyone loved Nazish.
Almost everyone.
Nazish's family had some major concerns and suspicions.
Take a look at this.
Nazish sent a text message to her brother a couple of months ago that stated, "Someday you will find me dead. It will be Kashif. He wants to kill me."
Detectives in Boonton, New Jersey have just begun their investigation into the shooting of mother of two, Nazish Noorani, and her surviving husband, Kashif Pervez.
According to Nazish's husband, Kashif, the couple was shot by 3 bigoted strangers. But the family isn't so sure.
Police have just learned that Nazish's relationship with Kashif was on the rocks, so much so that he may have even wanted her dead.
Take a look at this.
Nazish actually sent a text message to her brother a couple of months ago that stated, "Someday you will find me dead. It will be Kashif. He wants to kill me."
When Kashif went to Harvard, he never came back as much as he said he would. Because Nazish thought that something was up.
Family tells detectives that while Kashif was living in Boston to go to Harvard, Nazish had started to suspect him of having an affair.
I knew it.
She saw something on social media with Kashif and another woman.
Kashif, who is Sarah?
I don't know anyone named Sarah.
Oh yeah, then who is this?
Oh, she's just a friend.
A friend? A friend? Don't lie to me, Kashif.
When Nazish confronts Kashif, Kashif flew off the handle.
I've never lied. Stop accusing me of lying.
That's when the confrontation took a nasty turn.
She was punched in the stomach by Kashif.
I'm your husband. Never accuse me of lying.
Since the violent confrontation, Nazish's family says that she had grown terrified of Kashif.
Now, just because Kashif had hit his wife in the past, would he really go as far as to kill her? As well as shoot himself and try to cover it up?
Thank you for the information. We'll be in touch when we have more. Again, we're so sorry for your loss.
At this point, the detectives know that they need to talk with Kashif as soon as possible.
Detectives head to the hospital, where Kashif is currently receiving treatment for his injuries.
Kashif agrees to speak to detectives in his hospital room, and he starts out by repeating the same story he told officers on the scene.
He says the perpetrators of this offense approached him and his wife, called them terrorists.
However, as Kashif tells his story, Detectives start to pick up on some inconsistencies with his initial statement.
So now Kashif indicates that the assailants, in this particular case, were all black men. So eyebrows went up with the investigators.
This is not what he said when he was first interviewed, so detectives are puzzled as to why Kashif's story changed so quickly.
When confronted, Kashif feels the heat and abruptly changes the subject to his wife, Nazish.
Kashif has a lot of negative things to say about Nazish. He really assassinated her character.
He's speaking about how selfish Nazish is and the fact that she always wants money.
You indicated there's always problems about money. She always wanted money, wanted you to give her all your money. Is that accurate? Right.
And when detectives ask Kashif about his alleged affair, he doesn't even attempt to deny it.
He tells them that Nazish drove him to cheat and that he had been involved with another woman named Sarah Khan for the last 5 years.
And you indicated to me that you really should not have gotten married. Right.
Suddenly, Kashif starts to break down and confess.
That's when the whole investigation changed.
He starts to tell the detectives that he doesn't want to go to jail, that he never meant for his wife to die.
You did not intend for this to happen.
Obviously not. You should never have happened.
In a Boonton, New Jersey hospital room, 26-year-old Kashif Pervez is finally revealing what really happened to his murdered wife, Nazish Noorani.
During this interview with the detectives, Kashif finally admitted that he was cheating.
He admitted that he hated his wife and wished they weren't together. But Kashif says that what happened last night was all a terrible accident.
You did not intend for this to happen.
Obviously not. You should never have happened.
Kashif now admits there were no masked assailants. There was no hate crime. He made it all up.
Kashif states, it's this guy, his name is Nomi To. He did it. He killed her.
Kashif explains that Nomi To is a truck driver he knows from Brooklyn.
I'm having a conversation with a friend of yours in Brooklyn, is that right?
Kashif explains he would often confide in Nomi about his problems.
He tells Nomi that he's having an affair, that his wife spends all his money, he doesn't love her anymore.
Kashif says he told Nomi that Nazish was standing in the way of his true love, Sarah Khan.
I mean, you know I can help you.
What do you mean?
Kashif says that's when Nomi made a shocking proposal.
I can help you get out. We're good.
He would help him by getting rid of Nazish, by ending her life.
He says Nomi didn't even ask for money or anything in return. And Kashif was so desperate to get away from Nazish that he took him up on his offer.
Was there any room from you and this person that you would go out for a walk with your wife? Yeah. Okay. And this person would come out, kill your wife, and ruin you. Right.
However, Kashif says that when the evening of August 16th rolled around, he started having second thoughts.
He immediately regretted that they had plotted this murder.
But it was too late.
Wait, no, change your plans! Wait! No!
Kashif tells detectives that they decided that he should be shot too, so that it would seem as if he was not involved in this crime.
Come on, man, you ready? Come on, man, let's go.
And now that it's all over and Nazish is dead, Kashif says he wishes he'd never gotten involved with Nomi To.
Kashif is telling detectives that he was really coerced by Nomi into committing this crime, that Nomi was the mastermind.
Based on what Kashif has told them, detectives need to find Nomi To. But Kashif doesn't give them much to work with.
He explains that Nomi To is the man's nickname because he's a tow truck driver. He doesn't know the man's real name.
Despite his confession, they need to allow Kashif to heal before they can arrest him and take him to jail. So for now, they decide to try and track down Nomi
To. Back at the station, detectives reach out to their contacts in Brooklyn to see if anyone has heard of a tow truck driver nicknamed Nomi To.
No one has ever heard of this Nomi.
They searched and searched but couldn't find any records of Nomi. At this point, detectives are starting to believe he doesn't even exist.
Nobody knew Nomi because there was no Nomi.
Detectives now suspect Kashif has lied to them. But what is he trying to hide? Or rather, who? With their search for Nomi To a dead end for now, detectives shift their focus.
Kashif told detectives that he was in fact being unfaithful to Nazish and having an affair with a woman named Sarah Khan. So naturally, detectives realized they have to track Sarah Khan down.
Hi, yes, may I help you?
Yes, ma'am. Are you Sarah Khan?
Yes.
Sarah, do you know a man named Kashif?
Yes, he's my boyfriend.
According to Sarah, she'd met Kashif several years ago at a lecture in New York.
Sarah said when they met that he was separated from his wife and planning to get a divorce.
Sarah reveals to them that her and Kashif were together for 5 years. Kashif and Nazish were only married 6 years. So they realized the entire time Kashif and Nazish were married, he was also having an affair with Sarah.
It also means that he was lying to Sarah that whole time, living a double life with her while starting a family with his wife.
Sorry to tell you this, man, but we have reason to believe that your boyfriend was involved in the murder of his wife.
Wait, his wife?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
During questioning, Sarah becomes upset, understandably so. She's learning that her boyfriend of 5 years is not only still married, he's not divorced, but that his wife was murdered.
Detectives continue to press Sarah, hoping to determine whether she knew anything about the plan to murder Nazish, or maybe even participated in it.
Was it possible Sarah wanted her out the picture so she could have him all to herself?
Look, listen, I've had enough. If you guys have any more questions, you guys can talk to my attorney.
She tells them she's done and asks them to leave.
If Sarah has nothing to hide, why won't she just answer their questions?
At this point, detectives are certain someone had to have helped Kashif with the murder. But as of now, they can't pinpoint who.
They decide to subpoena Kashif's phone records in hopes that he had communicated with his accomplice around the time of the murder.
And when those records come in, they reveal another surprising discovery.
They see a number that he is constantly texting, and that number is also texting him repeatedly.
The text messages right in the days before is clearly that they were plotting something.
One of those texts said, "You'll be free soon."
Detectives in Boonton, New Jersey have just discovered calls and text messages from Kashif Parvez's co-conspirator in the murder of his wife, Nazish Noorani.
They're quickly able to determine that the number doesn't belong to Sarah Khan.
Could it belong to the mysterious truck driver known only as Nomi To? That theory is quickly ruled out.
Based on the romantic content of many of the texts, It's clear the phone belonged to a woman, which means that Kashif had yet another mistress.
And in the days leading up to the murder, the messages turned from seductive to scheming.
The text messages right in the days before, it's clearly that they were plotting something.
One text is particularly chilling.
One of those texts said, "You'll be free soon."
But that's not all.
Right before the murders, detectives see a text message that said, "I'm parked right around the corner from Nazish's home."
They noticed that that same number was pinging off towers in New Jersey, right near the crime scene.
And after the murder, the phone traveled from Boonton across state lines and into Massachusetts, stopping at a town about 30 minutes from Boston, which is near where Kashif was studying at Harvard.
Detectives believe that whoever owns this phone is likely their shooter.
Then they're going to run that phone number, and they're going to see who it comes back to.
The number is registered to a 26-year-old woman named Antoinette Stephen.
She was a former student at Boston Architectural College.
Many of the pieces were coming together, because Kashif was also studying architecture.
At this point, detectives are convinced Antoinette was involved in the murder of Nazish Noorani. With a search warrant in hand, they head to Antoinette's home to speak with her.
Antoinette Stephen?
Yes? Mind if we ask you some questions?
Antoinette Stephen, when confronted by the police, agreed to speak with them.
She admits to knowing Kashif and confirms that they have a relationship, but she won't say much more than that.
Antoinette is not very forthcoming with information. She's pretty aloof, very neutral.
She denies having anything to do with the shooting that killed Nazish and injured Kashif.
But detectives aren't buying it.
Well, we have a warrant to search the premises.
What? Let me see that.
Please step aside.
And in Antoinette's bedroom closet, the investigators hit pay dirt.
They found in her closet, in a suitcase, 2 firearms that matched the shell casings in the scene.
Although they'll need ballistics testing to be sure, detectives are confident that these are the weapons used to kill Nazish and wound her husband.
Along with the phone records, the discovery of the guns gives detectives enough evidence to arrest Antoinette Stephen. That same day, Kashif is discharged from the hospital and arrested as well.
They were charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and endangering the welfare of a child.
But even with 2 suspects now in custody, detectives still have a lot of questions.
Most importantly, detectives need to know which of the pair actually pulled the trigger.
As the case moves toward trial, investigators receive a promising call from Antoinette's attorneys.
Just homicide.
Once Antoinette realized that she was facing life without parole, she changed her tune. She was ready to talk.
She agrees to turn on Kashif and testify against him.
And as investigators sit down with Antoinette to hear her story, they're in for a wild ride.
They thought Kashif was a psychopath before, but they're blown away at what Antoinette has to say. They realize they had barely scratched the surface.
2 years after 26-year-old Nazish Noorani was shot and killed on the streets of Boonton, New Jersey, her husband Kashif Pervez and his secret mistress Antoinette Stephen are set to go to trial for the murder.
Investigators had uncovered text messages between the two plotting Nazish's death, and they had found a murder weapon hidden in Antoinette's closet.
But in exchange for a lighter sentence, Antoinette decides to flip on her lover.
That would be the final nail in the coffin to put Kashif away as the mastermind for Nazisha's murder.
When Antoinette gives her updated statement, she doesn't hold back.
It all started back at architectural school.
They were classmates at that Boston Architectural College. That's how they met.
Antoinette explains that the relationship between her and Kashif was friendly at first, but eventually took a romantic turn.
She knew that he had a wife and children, but he said he was separated.
I wish we could spend every night like this.
Me too, honey. But it's not that simple.
According to Antoinette, Kashif told her separating from his wife would be easier said than done.
Within a Muslim marriage, it goes more than just going to the courthouse and getting a release of your legal responsibilities for one another.
But Antoinette says Kashif was desperate to get out of his marriage to Nazish.
Honestly, I don't know how much more I can take. You have no idea what she's really like.
He also told her a lot of negative things about Nazish, making her out to be a monster of a wife and a mother.
Kashif said that Nazish refused to get treatment for one of the sons who had sickle cell anemia, that she was neglecting and even abusing the children.
That's horrible. What kind of mother would do such a thing?
Right. I'm telling you, she's dangerous. I've been trying to get rid of her for years, but nothing's worked.
Antoinette says that's when Kashif made another shocking confession.
Years before the murder even occurred, he was contacting black magic companies to see if they could kill Nazish, trying to put a spell on her or have her poisoned.
He was going online to consult with voodoo practitioners and black magic practitioners to try to coerce Nazish into committing suicide.
He wasn't happy within the marriage in any way. He wanted to eliminate her well before he came up with the plot to eliminate her.
Listen, Antoinette. I need your help. If not for me, think of my son. She's killing him.
In Antoinette's mind, she believed Kashif. She wanted the boys to be safe from what she believed was Nazish's neglect and abuse.
So, I agreed to help him. He told me it was the only way.
She says she knew killing someone was wrong, but she genuinely thought she was doing it to help save the life of a sick child from his uncaring mother.
That night, I drove from Boston to Boonton. Then I waited.
However, when Kashif and Nazish emerged from her sister's home around 11 p.m., there was one problem.
The baby did not want to be left behind, and that threw Antoinette off. She wasn't expecting to see the baby, but she still carried out the plan.
Antoinette explains that she approached the young family and pointed the .38 pistol right at Nazish.
No, please, please, I have kids. I have kids, please.
Do it! Do it! What are you waiting for?
Nazish's last heroic act demonstrated a mother's love. She threw her body in front of the stroller so that it did not roll down the hill and harm her son.
Then Antoinette switched to the smaller caliber gun to shoot Kashif in the leg and the arm.
I don't want to hurt you.
The cops are coming, come on!
Afterward, Antoinette fled, while Kashif called 911, pretending to be an innocent victim.
911, where's your emergency? I just got shot in my leg. Send an ambulance.
The worst part is, I thought I was helping his son, but it turns out it was all a lie. His son was never even sick.
Neither of the children have sickle cell anemia, and Nazish never withheld any medical attention from them.
Kashif was a mastermind, a master manipulator. He was so good that he got a woman to kill for him.
And when Kashif Parvez's trial begins in May 2015, prosecutors are quick to expose even more of Kashif's lies.
Kashif's claims about being enrolled at Harvard and going to Columbia were also all lies.
I got in? What?
Harvard?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Neither school had any record of Kashif ever being a student there.
To bolster their claim of Kashif being a liar and manipulator, prosecutors call an unexpected witness to the stand, his first mistress, Sarah Khan.
Sarah testifies to the many lies Kashif had told her over the years, but that's not all.
Turns out Kashif was actually violent towards Sarah in the past, just like he was with Nazish.
But the most damaging testimony against Kashif comes from his accomplice, Antoinette Stephen.
On the stand, Antoinette has some shocking claims. She was absolutely psychologically abused by Kashif.
Antoinette testifies to how Kashif manipulated her into helping him get rid of his wife.
Divorce is just frowned upon in the whole culture.
So he convinced Antoinette that the only way he could be free was to kill Nazish.
After only 4 hours of deliberation, the jury comes back with their verdict: guilty.
Kashif is sentenced to life in prison.
He won't be eligible for parole until 2077.
Antoinette pleaded guilty to the murder, and she got a 30-year sentence.
She's not eligible for parole until 2041. And then she will most likely be deported back to India.
Through their devastation, Nazish's family is happy that justice has been served.
They were relieved. They said justice has been done. They weren't joyous, but they said justice has been done. We're satisfied.
But even though Kashif won't be able to hurt anyone else, it doesn't diminish the horror of what he did to his loving wife.
To plot to murder someone just to be with somebody else, that's psychopath thinking, not normal behavior.